Hello, I'm Hal Ottaway with the Wichita Postcard Club, and it's time once again for another postcard of the week. And this week I have a postcard for you, a real photograph postcard taken at Udall, Kansas. And that's just south of Wichita, several miles. I don't know how many, but they had a dreadful, just a horrible in fact, I've heard it said that the worst ever tornado in Kansas in 1955, and this year marks the 70th year since that happened. The tornado itself was on May 25 in 1955, and it was bad. Total devastation that happened to that community. It says on the front of the postcard 170 homes were destroyed. And I mean by destroyed, not just with the roof taken off, but look, it's almost leveled. It's like a bomb damage or something. 80 people died and 200 probably plus were injured. All of this is the text at the bottom of the card, and I've never seen a card like this from Udall before. Normally, when I see Udall cards, there's nothing on them as far as, I think they were numbered, some of them anyway, but there's nothing that says that it was Udall and not Topeka, Kansas, or other places where they've had tornadoes. But this is obviously well documented, and it would have been a postcard that was prepared with this kind of text at the bottom some weeks or maybe even months later, where they would have the accounting of how many people died and were injured and so forth. There were people who died of their wounds, so, in the hospitals it just was really, really horrible. This was a big tornado. It started, I think, in the Blackwell, Oklahoma area. We have good friends that live there, and then it just came on into Kansas, southern Kansas, and did all this damage. And 70 years ago, we didn't have the weather forecasting like we do today. We didn't have the communication like we do today. Thank goodness we have lots better now. But these people were it was something they were expecting a thunderstorm, but no mention of a tornado that night. But you can see that somebody said that after the tornado, when they started rebuilding and everything, one of the things that helped the people there, I don't mean get over it, but to help them to make things better and to start making a home again, were trees. And there were several organizations who took money, collected money, and bought trees. And I think the story I heard is that there were like 200 trees that were taken and planted throughout Udall. And you can see that there were no live trees left after this horrible storm. So all of that would have been for the good. In 1955, I think I would have been 12 or 13 years old. My dad was busy working, and I had a neighbor, and I can't even remember who it was for sure, other than I remember asking if I could go with them. They were going to go to Udall and look, and my folks said sure. So I went in the back seat of somebody's car with my friend, and they drove to Udall. And when we got off the highway, it was south of Derby, Kansas, and so forth. But we got off the highway and went into the Udall. There were several cars sitting to one side of the road, kind of pulled off the road, almost kind of in a ditch. but they had their car doors open, and there were at least two cars that had spinner racks with postcards, selling postcards after the event. And certainly this was something that a lot of people were interested in. And these postcards, as I can remember, had a big 50 cents up here at the top of the spinner rack. So you would turn it around and make your selection. I didn't have a dime with me, and I wasn't a postcard collector at that point. Soon thereafter, I was. But this was just an example that I remember of a horrible one day event, thank goodness, where documentation was made with real photos, pictures, and then they were taken and processed and printed with the developing fluids and so forth on Kodak stamp box postcard paper. So when it came back to the people that had put in their order, they were all these real photo postcards. So that's what they had that they were selling. There were quite a number of them. And this, obviously, I'm not going to repeat myself, but this is one that must have been all of this information and documentation that I so admire on this one was done shortly thereafter, or let's say within a month or so. And I would imagine that for many years, similar postcards would have been offered for sale there in Udall for people to to show and to share with others about this mass destruction. But it's an incredible thing. Other storms and ice storms and just horrible things that happen, train wrecks, all these kind of things are often and always have been documented on postcards, at least going back to the 1907, 1910 period when Kodak made that camera that enabled you to take a snap and picture and get it developed and have it processed and come back to you on a postcard back paper, just similar to what this was done all those years later. But that's the story, and you can see the blow up of it here, showing that postcard again and how fierce it was and just total destruction and really, really suffering all of those people. Thanks for being here today. I don't mean to be a downer with this postcard here this springtime and this time of the year, and hope to goodness we never have anything like this again. But this is something that was documented on postcards at the time. So take care, and I'll try to have something happy next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.